Hello, everyone. How are you today? What is today? Friday. Yeah, it's Friday. It's Friday morning. No, it's Friday lunch. I hope you're all doing well. I know that a lot of you are working hard for your health, and I'm right with you. And just keep hanging in there. Just keep pulling yourself into some self-discipline. Know what your end goal is. You just if you're one of those that you're not going to eat raw for years, very few do, but try to do that for 4, 5, 6 months. But realistically, if you could take 1 year out of your life, 1 year, the amazing results of what you see. We've had all kinds of cases we've told you about, and some have talked to you on the Facebook and stuff. But when we know we can put testimonials up, we won't have enough sites for it. We just got tens of thousands of testimonials. We have thick testimonial books in the office here to show you the power of what you're doing, and most of you get it already. I think I've made it simplistic enough to where you're all grabbing it. And just like this individual sent this about the T cells and the B cells. I showed you this yesterday. Little fun things like this. And that's the thing with the kids, Mr. T. I mean, this kind of stuff is cool stuff in educating kids. And I wish I had some of this in anatomy and physiology and stuff like that instead of these cold square boxes. But learning should be fun, and this health should be fun for you. You know why? Because you feel better and better as you go. And it opens you up spiritually, whatever you wish to dub spirituality and what that is. But it opens you up to more love and more peace and more tranquility, and yet a sense of oneness with everyone and everything. So it's well worth the journey down the road of Wellville. Anybody get in on those albums that she had, the 2 songs going to Wellville? Oh, that was just good music. So what we're going to do, Drew's going to come in here in a minute. He's over across the street getting a look at his knee. He messed up his right knee up in New York, and he's worried about it. I will do this one though right here, right now. This is I can bring this when the eyes are here, but I think I'll just show you this one. Well, you know what? Let me try to show you this when we do the eyes here. But this is a 65-year-old, A blood type. I could care less what blood type. He had a heart attack 17 years ago, and he was put on a cocktail of drugs. Absolutely, alpha blocker, beta blocker, delta blocker. Sometimes you get crazy. Looking at these things. Aspirin, of course. Proton pump inhibitor. Oh, okay. Statin, of course, and blood pressure lowering drugs. Oh, beyond the beta and alpha blockers. He was taking these drugs for more than a decade. Then his memory started to decline rapidly, so an additional drug had been added. Not tropol. Looking back at his blood results in the period of drug taking 16 years ago, he was having very low 3.3 cholesterol all the time. I guess thanks to statins. See, and that's the illusion right there of statins. And you see it yourself. And that's what Deepak Chopra wrote, and Dr. Weil wrote this big article. I can't remember if it was the New York Times or Wall Street Journal. I've got it somewhere around here. But they were, going down on the statins because of just this thing. Suppressing liver production of cholesterol is not smart. I mean, the thinking behind allopathy is infant thinking at best. And no offense to you medical doctors out there, please, but this kind of thing, suppressing production of cholesterol, thinking it won't plaque if you do that, that's ridiculous thinking. Looking at the blood and thinking you're knowing what's going on interstitially, I think is ridiculous and probably a huge miscalculation of what really is going on in the human body. So I invite all you medical doctors, come on aboard and really get into this at another level, and you'll be curing your patients, and like I said, you'll be getting hugs instead of cusses. And that's what you get in my office. A lot of people come in here just cussing you guys down a storm, and of course been through a lot of toxic drugs and very sick from it. I don't ever want any of my clients to go out there and tell their people they got sicker from me, the drugs. I mean, that's a nightmare. A good physician who is a true healer at heart, you want to see your clients well. You want to address the cause of things. You don't want to treat symptoms. That sort of thinking did okay in acute phases and maybe subacute phases, but that's the problem. In suppressing those two phases allopathically, we've created, or you have created, a major chronic level of tissue performance, meaning not good. Chronic means hypo, underactive, low production of steroids, low production of hormones, low production of neurotransmitters, low movement of anything, non-filtering of the kidneys, constipation. You just keep on going into what chronic means. And that's because instead of addressing acute symptoms, in other words, when a symptom comes up for the first time, know immediately it's a symptom of acidosis, congestion, inflammation, which is acidosis, and go immediately to the tissue at hand and the fluid at hand, the lymph and the kidneys and the adrenals. Because if you keep all your fluids moving, you will not have any dis-ease. Because fluids are what you affect through chemistry, then they affect the cell. And that's the problem. And so just learning all of this is fun and it's good, and for you medical doctors, really rewarding, because as a team, we should heal the world. Medical thinking and research work is ridiculous. It's out there. It's carrot in front of the nose syndrome. And you notice you never find the cure, and you never will, because you're not addressing the cause of things. You're not like these YouTubers who are addressing the cause of their things and curing themselves up by the thousands. So that's what's so important, is that we address those sort of things. So this gentleman's got to go back and address his problem. The thing is the drugs could be definitely affecting memory, no question about that. But also just the very fact that he was occluded or blocked in a coronary, causing a heart attack. Now, whether it's a blockage, a spasm, a collapse of a vascular or a vein, could be either one of those things. But mostly occlusions, which are blockages, and either cholesterol or calcium. And what are those two components used by the body for in a stat need or an emergency need? Acidosis. And that's exactly what happened. So you can go back 17 years ago and knew he was losing his kidneys and adrenals years before that. So 17 years stacked on top of that, using pharmaceuticals to suppress things, I'd be looking at what his creatinine is, what his PSA is, what his BUN is. You might look over to liver enzymes, check them out, and see where that acidosis is, because it does show up in markers in the blood. And that's what you really want to look at. Other blood factors are real easy. Now, let me see, cholesterol at the time, and the tests were always showing inflammation. Oh, no kidding. Runny stool 5 minutes after each meal has also been present for years. So when you eat and you've got to run to the john, you've got pancreatic or hepatic, and hepatic is liver, and you're going to see that as more likely hepatic, which is liver, and but pancreatic can do that too. So these two areas of the body have to be cleaned up with him. You're going to clean him anyway, because if they're involved, you probably have interstitial lymphatic constipation throughout the small bowel, as well as the branches of the liver and the pancreas, and maybe even the spleen. So this guy needs a good detox. Chronic that right here it is. Chronic gastritis and H. pylori. That's just we have to think culturing medium instead of bacterium, and some diverticulosis. So this guy's got all kinds of gut problems, and this is why. But what creates inflammation? Acidosis. Thank you. Absolutely. So what you got to do, remember, is to get those kidneys filtering and get these acids out of that body, because he's going to get a stroke or a heart attack again. You can only count on these drugs helping you so long, and then down again you're going to go. And it's no way to try to hold someone in kind of in space here, because that's what this guy's doing. I was trying to hold off any type of major heart attack again or a stroke. And the thing is that at any time. So the person's got to back up here. Now we've gradually replaced the drugs with pinogenol, ginkgo, ginger, turmeric, fish oil, coconut oil, lecithin, CoQ10 or Q10, and selenium and zinc based on studies at my school. Oh, cute. Well, I tell you what. Got to get away from this. Go in your studies at your school, have your professor tell you how you utilize zinc and selenium and address that first before you take it. Because you run the risk of creating more free radicals, even though you're taking pinogenol. Now, nothing you're giving him addresses his problem. You're not giving him any kidney thing. You're not getting anything for the adrenals. You're not getting anything for the lymphatic system. So there's nothing here that's going to help him back that down. These antioxidants like pignogenol and things like that, you know, we give a lot more credit to something that doesn't really, I mean, they help a little bit, but these things are expensive, and like CoQ10, and that's, like I said, that's way down on the Krebs cycle. That's an antioxidant released at least almost halfway through the Krebs cycle, and that's a cycle of carbohydrate and digestion. But the problem with that is fruits, berries, and melons are loaded with antioxidants. Why take supplementation that when you can eat the very foods that you need, because all their other actions, clean the lymph, open up the arteries, keep the blood nice, all these factors was just what this man needs: fruits, berries, and melons. Of all the foods, those are the foods that keep the blood nice. They keep the vascular walls healthy with the flavonoids. There's so much that fruits and berries and melons do. Now, ginkgo and ginger helps, of course, to move everything around. Ginkgo, of course, definitely, but I do a formula with a little ginkgo, but you've got so many other great herbs for that brain above ginkgo. You would want to use upper circulation and brain and nerve, where you got the skull caps and there's a million of them I love. Turmeric, okay for the liver, but you got to get this your friends or dads, wherever the system moving. Fish oil, okay. You're on a lot of oils here. Coconut oil, fish oil, and here's lecithin. Lecithin is a molecule or two away from plastic. If you study up on lecithin and how they make it, they take that soy almost away to plastic. So butter, plastic, or margarine, plastic, lecithin, they're all up there. And so I used to take lecithin myself when I had health food stores, just because they said just because they said, right, it's an oil. So the bottom line here is dump the lecithin. The coconut oil is great. You don't want to give too many oils. Besides, this guy's got a hepatic or pancreatic problem. If it's a liver gallbladder inflammation from acidosis, then you don't want to do too much oils, because that'll keep him running. Selenium and zinc. Get rid of those. Go after the adrenal glands. All the fruits, berries, and melons. Plenty of zinc and selenium. It's about utilization of these components, and these minerals are utilized by adrenal steroids. And get in there and get those adrenals up. You're focusing on components that'll never get him anywhere. And at best, you're helping him just on that much. You really want to dig in and go on further at this. All the heart results and blood pressure are okay. It's okay. Well, take him off the blood pressure medication and then recheck his blood pressure. And if he's okay, then you can say okay, guys. But when anybody's on blood pressure medication, it's not okay. That means he's got high blood pressure and you're artificially controlling it. And the problem is they never fix the kidneys, so he's going to keep losing the kidneys, the very source of where this issue is. And then lower back, prostate, this guy's 65. Those sort of things, but the memory keeps getting worse. My mom changed their diet, no refined sugar. Good. This individual, Diana, you're doing good with your parents. Good job, sweetheart. Refined carbs, loads of veggies, fruits. Oh, good. Little meat. Well, that's better. You know, I know it's hard to get your parents sometimes to listen. I'm a parent, but I like to listen. But they are getting very skinny now. My dad is below 60 kilos, 9 stones, and losing weight continually. Well, you got to remember, going back to gastritis, sweetheart, going back to gastritis and diverticulosis, this guy's got bowel pockets. Your dad's got inflammation all through the stomach, which is gastritis, enteritis probably in the small bowel, and colitis. I mean, even though those aren't diagnosed, these are words. These are words simply meaning that his lymph system has been backed up. The heart attack showed you that, and then this is all just showing it in his face even more. Now, I'm going to show you this man's eyes here because he was nice enough to send me the eyes, and I'll show you. He's got eyes so much like mine, it's scary, and that's sad. But things that he got to do to fix himself. I am really worried, as he is such a good man and most precious for me. Well, you got to fix your dad up, honey. So I'm just saying this to you so you'll go deeper into how you get someone well. The level of your giving is what most naturopaths do, and most naturopaths are very unsuccessful. They make you feel a little better. This isn't the time to make people feel better, a little better anymore. That should have been 50 years ago. At this point, we got serious lymphatic problems and serious cell problems. So kick it up, sweetheart, another notch. Get the herbs that are tissue specific and go into that body of your dad's like you know how to and fix him up. And you'll get him. You'll get him back and he'll live a long time. Other than that, you got to be careful, you know, because even with all what you're doing with these, it's not going to keep him from stroking or a heart attack. I do think, oh, absolutely, I think you can get him back and get his memory back. Upper circuit brain and nerve is what I would use, more powerful than what, by a million times of what you're doing. That's going to aggressively move blood in the head. It's going to also get into those neurons and regenerate, enhance. So I would do that. At the same time, though, you want to do, because again, when you start losing memory, you're starting to get occluded or blocked, you're starting to get blocked, you're starting to get acidic, you're starting to get all these things like that. Let me see. I understand also he seems to struggle with simple things like putting a rubber band. Well, you better get him now, honey, because it doesn't sound good for 65 years old, definitely moving to probably Alzheimer's or dementia. So, you know what, you can get him, you can rebuild him. And Dad, if she lets you listen to this, you know, just spend about 6 months of your life, rechange everything you're doing, drop all proteins, drop all dairy products, drop 99% of all cooked food, get yourself on a diet of fruits, berries, and melons, and you'll pull all this stuff out of you, and you're going to get thin. You're going to get thin for a while because that just shows you guys. And this is a case, you guys, where you know they're malabsorbed. There's no question. I mean, gastritis, basically diverticulosis, that definitely is right there with colitis and enteritis. Simply meaning that the lymph system is backed up in these persons head to toe. Head to toe. And remember, when you're talking about the lymph system, you're talking about a systemic fluid. That means a fluid that flows around every cell in the body, head to toe. So that's why it takes a little while to get well. That's what's so difficult about this level of thinking. But we need this level of thinking. Man has to come to this level because, one, he can't keep eating the foods that he's doing. Man's dietary understanding must radically change. These schools that teach nutrition must radically change their understanding of what's going on. We're still too braino about nutrition and lost in isolates of chemistry, thinking that they're going to do us some good. And let me pre-warn those of you taking large vitamins and minerals are not going to do you good. You run yourself in trouble. Get back to a very simple, natural, simplistic way of looking at this. Keep your body simple, because when you overload your body, now it's got to deal with this. It's got to deal with too much chemistry on one side and another. Like examples, zinc and selenium need steroids. If you feel you're deficient in it, first you fix the digestion. Second, you fix the absorption. Third, you fix the utilization. That means how the body uses the chemistry, which is mostly adrenal steroids. Remember, calcium, the parathyroid. Fix those three before you can think deficiency. Just remember that, because that's the failing of naturopaths. You know, we went through this whole Linus Pauling study of vitamin C, ascorbic acid. However, what they don't tell you is antagonistic to calcium. So all of you on high doses of vitamin C are losing your calcium. Can't do that. You can't take things out of context. We must get more simple and more natural. Doesn't mean we have to be simple up here, but it means we also have to be able to overview and be simplistic in the way we approach things, because we're already approaching things intellectually, academically. So if you all see world as getting better from that approach, great. I don't, and neither does most of you YouTubers that are really up there in what you see to be true. So most of you guys know that that is not the area. We must simplify. We can be intellectual, but you'll be able to turn that off like you turn the lights off at night. You got to be able to turn off that mind. If you notice how if you get thinking too much, you can't sleep, you're up all night because you're thinking. And that's where man is. He's lost in thought. And then some of the engineers, like I talked to the other day, he's bringing down off of that high intellectualism and simplifying himself. So he sees more when he does that. He understands more. Not that you don't use those components of life, but you don't let them rule you. You don't let the mind be your master. And that's what's going on this planet. Thought dominates the experience. And that's not the way it should be. Consciousness should dominate the experience. Awareness. And then thought when you want to create something or you want to move somewhere. You're not going to get away from the mind, but you've got to control that baby. Well, let me show you his eyes here. Now this is the, here's the right eye. See all that orange and white around the pupil? That's all sulfur, thick lymph, all this white. See all these lacunas, see all these big patterns here? These are weaknesses. And you notice where the weaknesses are, these patterns are? You'll find white all the way around these patterns, like right here. And that shows you. Here's his left eye to show you another. See all this thick white stuff here, all around this whole big lesion here? See all this thick white stuff? This is all acid lymph mucus. Look at all around the bow here, all the orange sulfur. So that's irritating him. That's creating gastritis. Now, listen, the good news here is I don't see a large cholesterol ring in him at all. So I tell you, that's excellent news. I just don't see that. So let's look at the right eye first. Right eye. Now, listen, this is Diana. Sweetheart, you got to tell your dad to work on his kidneys. He's about to lose his right kidney. This right kidney of his is not happy, and his right knee is not happy at all. So that's coming. His appendix isn't happy, and his groin isn't happy. Also, I tell you, he's going to feel his hip on there. Big problem. Gallbladder, arm, up here in the arm. Also the liver, a lot of inflammation in the liver, a lot of mucus in the liver. So my guess is he's probably getting a fatty liver because he's a lot of inflammation there. He's got pressure on that hip from the bowels being prolapsed down. Again, that right leg is very weak, the right kidney is very weak, the adrenal glands, and then the prostate. So you need to, and the lower back, so he's got to fix this up. Got a little deterioration starting in his throat, so he's got to get that out of there. Fix the bronchial trunks, clean that up. The right shoulder's involved here a little bit. Getting up in the cerebellum here on the right side's involved. Pituitary. So your dad's got a body where he needs to address his health issues, you know. Good pictures, by the way. You guys are sending in pretty good pictures considering you don't have iris cameras. You guys are just getting everything down so good. I love each and every one of you. And Diana, I love you for what you're doing with your dad, and I don't blame you. You know, if he listens, man, you really got it. On the left side of his body, though, and that's all these clumps. See all these thick clumps? Yeah, that's lymph nodes. So his lymph nodes are swollen in the left side of his body. His kidney's real weak on the left side, too. He's got some real serious weak kidneys. But that should have, if we knew, you know, more about the kidneys 20 years ago, we would have been able to help him, maybe. Us. But medical still don't get with the kidneys. So we all need to get with the kidneys and why they're so important. They're not just filtering water. They're not just hanging out doing nothing. These are major puppies of the body. So this is very, very important here that your dad take care of this sort of thing. Again, more groin on the left side, kidney, leg, upper femur that attaches into the hip there is weak. A lot of inflammation in the prostate, drug deposits in the prostate. Got a little bladder, lower back weakness on the left side. Some of these weaknesses are not deep, but which is good. But they're still there. Left testicle, heart, is genetically weak. Now here's the thing with your dad. You want to really get your dad to detox, because you see this big one right here? That's his heart. The problem with it is just that the whole muscle's weak, but you see that white line around that? That's heavy lymph in the wall of the heart. So what that's doing is creating extreme acidosis in the heart. And so that will then, just what it did 17 years ago, it's creating a demand of the body to fight that. And of course, cholesterol and calcium are the fighters. So he runs the risk of more issues with that heart. And one of the big issues would be congestive heart failure, which is a lymphatic problem. So we got more evidence of the cerebellum here and the left shoulder involvement here. A lot of congestion up in the head area here in the center head, weaknesses in the forehead. So a lot of these things, just your dad really needs to get on. His skin could definitely improve. So these are some of the things your dad needs to do to get on there. And Dad, you just need to hit the raw and hit the fruits, berries, and melons, and give yourself spend one year of your life pulling yourself back into a state of wellness, and you'll be good. So keep working, Diane. Thanks a lot for that. But a lot of these supplements, get away from these things. I mean, the ginger's great, okay. The turmeric will help definitely with the liver, but you want to move lymph. The coconut oil's got all the fatty acids. You got plenty, and then there's plenty in fruits, berries, and melons. So I'd be careful with that. Dump the lecithin for sure, the CoQ10 and the selenium and zinc. A waste of money and time. Put that towards something for the adrenal glands to then utilize those minerals, and you'll be good. All right, so this is feeling stuck. This is Elizabeth. Elizabeth. I like that name. Hello. I've been studying your protocols for quite some time now. I also have this passion. My issues have been diagnosed as Hashimoto's, lupus kind of thing, with tremendous fatigue and pain, with lots and lots of mouth sores. So, just that alone, highly acidic, sweetheart, interstitially here in your mouth. You're not draining lymphatically here. So I don't know if you have fibrocystic breasts or something. Get on these lymph nodes and really start getting those kidneys and flushing this out. Now I know you, let me read on to see where your frustration is here. But all these herpes type sores, these are acidic sores, these are proteolytic virals, just shows how acidic you are. You got to be careful to lose the teeth. Not herpes, I've had them checked. Doesn't matter, still acidosis. Sores, that's how you get sores. You know, generally enter an acidic, highly lymphatic, stagnant medium. Canker sores. Had them in my life growing up. I've been and I don't know who thought those weren't herpes, because most of them are, but it doesn't really matter what you call them. It's all in the presence of acidosis, so you correct that and you won't see that anymore, and that's important to correct that. I've been a strict vegan now for years, recently stopped all grains. See, here we go, recently stopped all grains. So I want to go back here. But don't be frustrated because you just recently stopped the food that isn't good for you. So the problem, and I fell into this too, is that whole grains, beans, all this stuff isn't any better for you than the other part. These things, white flour, whole wheat flour, they're both acidic, they're both gnarly, they both are not good foods. Nothing good about grains. You know, they're high sugars and acidic. So all that together doesn't come out good. We need sugar, and that's the old saying is fruit sugar has always been called grape sugar. And so you got to realize that's a staple of man. You got to have fructose in your life. If you don't, neurologically, you're just not going anywhere. I mean, glucose just doesn't give you that power of nerve regeneration. And we talked about that in your neurological cases. Look at how Dave and others have been helping people with their neurological conditions and showing you how you take a quad and parallel. Look at our friend Orville, who is now doing stationary bikes and getting to that point where someday soon he's going to be walking on his own, and that's a paraplegic. And this is the point, is you don't have to be stuck where you are. Might take some work to get you out, but your passion should drive you and get you there. And so you have to get yourself up higher on this program of raw, and particularly the fruits. Fruits all morning with salad at night or evening. I do a lot of kelp, good job, and have been trying to move my lymph, but my kidneys and adrenals are very, very low. Yeah, I mean, some of you guys that are younger might have to kick it up another notch with the glandulars and everything else. Some of these genetics are sleeping bad. So, you just have to keep working on those. And that's why, but to honest the truth, Elizabeth, this is why we do 2 kidney formulas. To be honest with you, we're not, we see that too. And with the genetics in the younger people so much weaker, I think this is going to be a job for all you guys. And it's a job for me. So, people look at this funny. They don't realize the seriousness of what we all do and the seriousness of what this means for man and his ability to find a remedy to his health issues. This is serious stuff. And some people are suffering pretty bad. And you guys are the top of your class. I love you all. You Facebook people are incredible. My love to each and every one of you guys. Keep working. Don't get frustrated. Invigorate yourself if you get stuck or like Elizabeth's getting a little there. Kick it up another notch. Get more fruit. Go on a grape fast. Go on a lemon juice fast. Any fruit. Take anything you like. Anything you're craving. Even you can do vegetable fast. But you know what? If you've already doing vegetables and grains, get rid of them. Go another step deeper. And those of you that have done that starting to say, oh, wow, look at that. It is deeper when you go to the fruits, the berries, and the melon. Absolutely. More energy, more magnetics, more power, more chemistry. More pycnogenol. Blood pressure is a lot better. It's now about 9. Oh, this is better. 95 over 60. Oh, Elizabeth, your sweetheart. Oh, sorry. Oh, man. And you know what? Elizabeth is one of those where you have real chronic adrenals. If 95 is better, that means she's probably been down in the 80s. I feel sorry for people down in the 80s. There's extreme fatigue, extreme neurological weakness. So, honey, don't give up. Keep fighting. Go to the 400 milligrams and do 2 or 3 of the pure adrenals from New Zealand. Do about three times a day. Whatever you got to do. Go up slowly as you go, but go up a little bit and see if we can't pitch and punch that baby and get those things up and awake. I would get that glandular tonic. It's a new tonic I have out for the glands and work on behind the scenes. A tonic is something that builds and builds and builds and builds. Like ginseng. You don't see the results of ginseng overnight. But look at the 256-year-old Chinese guy. Google 256-year-old Chinese man and see what you see. And you'll see that picture up in my office here of the man who died in 1933 at 256 years old. Interesting story. So he took ginseng tea 4 or 5 times a day. Over time, it built strength and stamina. And I think that's what we're going to have to do is do some tonics on the side while we're using like glandulars and things to hit this. Because without a glandular, this poor soul, holy moly, I was like a walking dead. I believe that, honey. Now, you could have some neurotoxicity suppressing your adrenals, or you could have some karma emotionally from past lives or whatever. So you want to kind of examine that part of yourself and get into yourself and let all your emotions go. Open the door to your emotions and let your emotions fly like doves in the sky, and open that heart and radiate love. The rainbow of colors and love and beauty, and let your emotions fade away and become strong with the self. And as you do, everything will strengthen inside of you because your cells are going to mimic your consciousness, You're doing good, though. But a bit of life and inspiration is coming back. Yeah. I'm on thyroid, armor, and a... Cytomel 13 was on about 120, now on 90. I've recently pulled back every day. Yeah, you might think pituitary here, check your periods and see how they're doing. If your periods are irregular or you have heavy bleeding and all that, hit the pituitary, and the pituitary trips the adrenals too, and the thyroid and parathyroid. If you don't seem to be getting anywhere with the thyroid glandular, then it might be the pituitary. But remember, when you do that, you got to titrate off of something. You got to come down off of something. If you're bringing more thyroid power in, you can't keep it the same level of synthroid, levothyroxine, Armour, whatever one you're on. T4, T3, don't matter. You're going to have to set that, keep cutting that down, but that's a goal anyway. Any physician out there that would expect someone to stay on pharmaceuticals or synthetic or even natural hormones for life needs to get smarter. Needs to understand that what they're doing is condemning their patients to a life of hell. And you're going to weaken all these tissues, and then everything is going up or down, and it's just a nightmare. And you want remedy. As a physician, we want to give people their health back. And we want to teach them so they can keep their health back, and they know what's going on. You know, there's enough people in the world for millions of healers. I was to pull back every day because I'm on pituitary. I should read on. Because I'm on pituitary, parathyroid, and adrenal glandulars and been using a lot of herbs to move lymph and kidneys, also on a lower bowel. The thing is, my kidneys are not filtering. I know. You know what? And I don't know how to help you. You're on everything you need to do to get your kidneys filtering. I would just let time get up higher on your diet. That's where I see you're failing here. Get rid of the vegetables. You might need to do some serious great fasting or something like this to shake things loose systemically, lymphatically, you know, and really get in and get things around. It is like real light yellow, and my face is starting to break out more. So that's what's up. You're not filtering. And so, you know, all this work you're doing is just not filtering. So I would really get up there and pound those kidneys with fruit juices, because those are the astringents. Lemon juice would be excellent. Go on a 10-day lemon juice fast and see if you can't get that astringent is enough to even open up the kidneys there. I start to lose belief and feel stuck and frustrated when the pain comes and the mouth sore. And the lemons ain't going to help that. Try apple juice for a while, but once you get your kidneys open, sweetheart, all this will start moving out of your body. But you see, and a lot of you YouTubers see this, she's doing good, but she's not getting her kidney filtering, and therefore she's seeing things not getting better. And that leads us to the kidneys. And this has done this for years. Finally, I realized it was filtration problems. You're not taught that anywhere. It's come up to realize, oh man, clear urine, nothing's coming out. Common sense. So this is a problem here that you got to fix, sweetheart. And I don't know, go 4 times a day, do 2 kidney formulas. Definitely try the kidney number 4, the new one. Get on kidney number 2 and kidney number 4. Do one capsule and 1 liquid. At the same time, I'd get right up on a fruit fast or something that'll keep your sores from popping out too much, because you're so acidic here, and it's in the mouth. So certain food's going to make them maybe hurt a little more until you get this lymph coming out of here. It's possible. I had that problem. I had canker sores growing up, and I blew through that when I went into my fasting and stuff. But I can understand why you're frustrated. Should I start more adrenal? I'm on about 360 in the morning and 125 in the noon. I've been dealing with this for a long time now. I would do the 400s, and I would do 2-3 times a day if it was me of those. Maybe try 1-3 times a day and slowly move up to 2-3 times a day. Remember that psychiatrist I told you that came to us? He wrote a lot of books, famous psychiatrist, burned himself out. That guy took so many glandulars, I couldn't believe it. But he's a physician. I let him control his own thing. And the guy pulled himself out of it. So this is the thing, is that you might have to get more on the glandulars in that way. I like your idea and your take on your pituitary. Good, smart, Elizabeth. But remember, this is between you and your body and the genetics and your past experiences. So really try to open up those emotions and let them out. Work on neurolymphatic points to the kidneys and the adrenal glands. That'll inspire them to function even better. Work on those neurolymphatics down the spine. I really work on that. Also, like I said, get up there in the high fruit level. You're going to have to do that. My mother died at 50. Oh, my God. Okay, so here it is. And she's really painting us a beautiful picture here, Elizabeth. Your mom died at 54. See, that's why I do this. I do this because your mom died at 54, and I've got moms that died at 35. I've got mothers I couldn't save because they waited too long. Someone told them in the last hours of their days. And then I have one lady in Texas, 35 years old, 5 kids. They radiated her from breast cancer. They radiation to the breast. You buttholes. This is where you're killing people. And so you radiate women's chests and then they get lung cancer out of it. We see that all the time. So if you're a physician and you give radiation after a tumor's been removed, you got clear margins, why would you ever think for 1 minute that this would be preventative? When that is used, you guys ought to go to jail. There's no prevention about radiation and there's no prevention about chemo. So when you use those words, you guys are stepping way across the red line. And that's serious. That's a serious crime to me. So this is sad. This lady lost her mom at 54 from the treatment of cancer, my guess, but it was a lymphoma. And all cancers are lymphomas anyway. So Elizabeth, this sets you up, sorry for that, but this sets you up for the lymph. And so this just tells me that you were in your mom for 9 months, whatever. That tells me your lymph system's a mess. But that you're demonstrating that. You're showing me this, and you're showing me why your mom had the problems that she had. And I'm sorry about it. I'm compassionate with you guys. I can't stand to see what we're doing to people. I just can't stand to see that. Just like the IRS and what they're doing to people. This is all going to come back on all these people in a hard way, and I don't want anything to do with that. Yeah, so you know it's genetic, sweetheart. I've had a lot of issues with my atlas neck. Drain, because that's why you're so acidic. Remember, your mouth sores are popping out. You're going to deteriorate the C-spine here, cerebellum, equilibrium, dizzy, and you're probably a young woman. So really get in there. I also have hernias, eye surgeries, joint issues, etc. And you get the picture. I do get the picture. Sweetheart, listen, don't give up. Honey, you keep working yourself. It's just a body, okay? So you just keep working yourself back to Wellville. Don't take no for an answer. Move this way, move right, move left, dig in with fast, cut back, go further, go deep. But you're going to have to go deep in the body. Get those kidneys filtering, sweetheart, and you're going to be on top. But you got to keep working with that. So try some of those things we're talking about. Even if you go to any green drinks, hit a lot of beet juice. See, matter of fact, we might want to do parsley, dandelion greens, and beets. It's a strong drink, but go on a few days of a lot of that and really see if that will open up some kidney function with you. Let me see here. Eye surgeries, hernias. Oh my God! I can see why you're on the parathyroid now, and I can see why you're on the pituitary. Feeling as your own body's attacking you. Well, you're so acidic here. It's about right. I want to thank you for being on. Listen, honey, I'm here for you, and I'll tell you something. I love you, and you hang in there, and you get your health back. Whatever it takes, sweetheart, go and get your health back. Working hard. Just remember, detoxification is opening, clearing, hydrating, but also rebuilding and regenerative. And you just got to go down that road. There's just no two ways about it. Hey, Doc, can you please do a video on testosterone? I've been using a lot of these testosterone replacement clinics opening up, especially here in Florida. Isn't that true? You see the signs all over the side of the road, Well, wait a minute. You wouldn't want to give testosterone to any of the athletes because that would be giving them what? See, that's what I'm saying. These are natural components. I just think it's important that people understand the dangers and misinformation on this subject. Thanks a lot. Hey, Justin. Hey, thanks, man. Well, as with any steroid, if you take it, your body quits making it. And this is classic. I see this almost every day in our clinic here where someone's been on hormones or steroids. And think about this to the extent of neurotransmitters in meat. And we've talked about this, where slaughterhouse meat is full of epinephrine, and it's adrenaline. And you know why The difference between New Zealand slaughterhouses and American slaughterhouses is that they're a slaughterhouse in America. They're a Kevorkian in New Zealand. So a big difference, and it creates a big difference in how the adrenals work in these animals and what they produce. And so same with you. If you knew you were going to pass, you're going to fight, and that's going to pump your body full of adrenaline. So testosterone, and that, of course, then brings that's a neurotransmitter. When we eat neurotransmitters, I feel this is one big reason that we've lost our adrenals is the high meat eating, because it's just, you see it in the steroids and neurotransmitters and hormones, and you see it in neurotransmitters. So your endocrine glands are funny. They don't like you to give what they're giving. They like to make it themselves. So this idea that a medical doctor said one time that if you take cortisol, it'll shut down your adrenals, but they'll just go to sleep and they'll wake up someday and they'll be better. Oh, excuse me. This is the sort of thing. And so testosterone is the same way. If your testosterone, and here's the thing, and I've talked about testosterone before, and this is true with estrogen as well. These are acidic steroids. They're not of the acid level that cell acids are, and I just did a video talking about that, the burning factors of estrogen versus the burning factors of, let's say, phosphoric acid or carbonic acid. A lot bigger of an acid, a lot harder, and so you can feel the difference in them. However, with that said, it's still an acid. So the problem here, of course, is the adrenal glands. That's where you see the final stages of testosterone, estrogen, and their remedy, progesterone, or their neutralizer. And so when you run low in testosterone, sometimes it's better, because I want you guys to remember this. If you're not filtering in your kidneys, and your adrenals are down, and you're low in testosterone, and you're having sexual problems, and you're pumping testosterone to fix that, you run the risk of creating extreme prostatitis. You run the risk of running yourself into prostate cancer, because it's acid on top of acid. Even though a minor acid on top of a hot acid, the cell acids, it's still going to burn you. So I've always felt that, in a way, God kind of did this kind of right, in the sense that having a weak adrenal gland, of course, shuts down the kidneys. Shutting down the kidneys, of course, creates systemic acidosis by way of the lymphatic stagnation that occurs from that. In that process, this happens head to toe, whether it's ovaries, whether it's uterus, whether it's testicles, or whether it's the prostate. And they get it first. They get it before this gets it. And so they're the closest. So that's the problem. And so by taking testosterone in a scenario where the adrenals are down, not producing it, you can almost surmise that you're not filtering from that. And all of this is going to lead you into extreme prostatitis and kidney failure and the whole 9 yards. So I would do this. I would look at our new male reproductive formula. I designed that so you could take that and still get some male power, but not overheat up the prostate to where you're going to create serious problems. And then work on your adrenals to produce its own testosterone at the level you need it for your body and your level of activity and your level of consciousness. So really get in there and fix these tissues and get strong with your own testosterone, because playing with steroids is not good. And it's not just about athletes and things like this. Is about what's going to happen to you when you start losing your prostate or ovaries or uterus and those sort of things, not good. So go back and do the testosterone thing correctly. The same thing with women. If you've had a hysterectomy, remember the ovarian estrogen is for the uterus. You have some spillover, but this is a house. Vaginal estrogen goes from the adrenals, systemic estrogen from the adrenals. So you can have a hysterectomy, and that's generally a sign of what? Weak adrenals, because it's a lymphatic problem, is why we lose the ovaries, why we have ovarian cysts coming and going, why we have uterine fibroids, endometriosis, it's why we have testicle problems, it's why we have, we can't get males to do their thing like they should. All these problems, all these steroid problems, remember, are coming from weak adrenal glands initially. So you got to go back and fix those things, get the kidneys filtering. Then there's plenty of incredible herbs to enhance but you don't use hot herbs to enhance while you're hot. In other words, while you're highly acidic, don't use hot herbs like ginseng and some of the male herbs. Yeah, those are real hot herbs. So you want to kind of stay cool while you clean all this up, get your adrenals up online. If you're a female, all your female problems are going to melt away. And if you're a male, all your male problems are going to melt away, and you're going to be strong. And that's the key. For women who have breasts that are undershaped or what, you're going to see maybe an increase in that. Men who have male problems can see a changing of that. It's amazing to see what happens when you make tissue healthy. That's the beauty of it. We're not trying to treat, we're trying to make tissue healthy. And that's the only way you're going to get tissue healthy. If you treat, you're never going to get there, and you could hurt yourself immensely. So your testosterone pumpers, get away from that. My younger son is a testosterone pumper, and I go, doesn't want to listen. So I don't know what to say. But good question, that's for sure. And you guys protect yourselves, because for what you're trying to do in the moment could yield you lifetimes of problems. Howie. Hey, Howie. Hi, Dr. Morse. Thank you, too, for your comments here. Appreciate it. I love you, too, man. My name is Ozzy. I am a 35-year-old male, and my question is for my dad, who is 56. He has a leaky heart valve and had a bout of shingles. Whoa. Okay, so a leaky heart valve, I would be checking that parathyroid of his, check his fingernails, look for those things that are connective tissue or involved in calcium-related issues, because that's what you might have to want to do with him, is deal with that. Now let's go to strengthen the mitral valve or tricuspid. Doesn't matter, you want to strengthen. But to strengthen, you want to remove the acids that are taking the calcium out of these tissues. So in the heart, around valves, around anything, acids build up everywhere. Everywhere there's cells, which is where? Everywhere you're going to see that lymph fluid, and you're going to see cell waste, and you're going to see acidosis if you're not filtering these wastes out. It's that simple, and when you understand that, you can fix everything up. Shingles, okay, that immediately takes you into the kidneys. It immediately takes you into the adrenal glands. And so the seriousness of this, of course, is going to be the adrenal glands and the weakening of the myelin sheaths with low neurotransmitters. What your dad could run into is high blood pressure, when really he probably has low blood pressure. And you got to get in and fix these kidneys, get the adrenals up so you can rebuild. I would use brain and nerve number 2, and I would get the adrenals up, because you want to rebuild the myelin sheaths. They're being attacked. Why are things attacked in the body? Because they're weak and the body's trying to get rid of them, even if it's your nerves. And that's the problem. Herpes is just a viral, and virals are just those things that say, oh, I'm here to get rid of your weaknesses. And that's the same thing with bacteria. When you see the move of nature against your body, it's not against your body, it's against either the toxemia or the weaknesses that's been created from the toxemia. See what I'm saying? So we're blaming bacterium and virals and all this. Don't take the finger there, take the finger here. Or take the finger to the governments and how they've been misleading the people. All about money. This world is all about money and all about what sells and doesn't sell. Jesus saw that back in there. Remember the marketplace? Buddha saw that. This world has always been about the money and the drama. Well, that's what this world is. But we need to make the drama a little more elevated so we can have a little more fun with the drama instead of where we're at now. Warring planet and everything here. So, right, immediately your dad has the very things that cause the strokes and heart attacks. He has the weakness of the adrenals and kidneys. Yeah? He has been doing mostly raw. Look at that. 56-year-old dad doing raw. Love it, man. And recently I got him on some herbs, basically a protocol that came up by watching your videos. You guys are good. Ozzy, you're good. I love all you guys. You know what? You guys are good. Don't give up. Don't get frustrated. You go in, you know what you're looking for. You get those kidneys filtering. You get the adrenals up. If you have to go buy a blood pressure machine, you're looking for 120/60. Either you're going to bring them down or you're going to bring them up. He has been losing weight since being raw, and all his family and friends seem to be concerned because he is skinny and they say he looks unhealthy. Well, that's part of detox. And your dad's got to fix some things. So, Dad, don't worry about the thinness. You'll see, you'll come out of this looking like a mean, lean machine. But you've got to fix some things first, and that's what people have to get with. When you're in the process of fixing the body, sometimes it don't look so good, especially if you're malabsorbed. You know, we were talking about this the other day, but you know, you take the fat out of spaces of most people. You know, your body, remember this, your body doesn't get rid of that which is strong. That's stupid. That doesn't happen. Nature doesn't attack strong things. Strong bulls don't attack strong bulls. They might try, but nature is a constant test of who's strong and who's weak. Those things that are weak, you're gone. And that's what you got to remember in every sense of the word, including cells. What nature uses to terminate the weak at different levels can be virals, can be to initiate immune responses, it can be bacterium to break down sewage, it can be a mean bull after you. Whoever's the strongest survives. Notice that? I love to live in a world where that isn't true, but that's just the way it is. And so, really important. So he probably has malabsorption, liver, pancreatic. So Dad, hang in there. Don't worry about what your friends say, because once you turn this corner, you can put on these muscles and look like a lean, mean, killing machine. So don't worry about that. My question is, he continues to do the raw and get his body detox. Will he end up putting on more weight? Absolutely, and building his muscles up. And this is why you got to realize, and this is what the fault of the AMA is. We send someone to the ER because we have a serious case. They don't get it. And sometimes that patient or your client doesn't get out. They die right there. So we don't want to do that. We had one just the other day. She had worked years, stage 4 breast cancer. I've had her alive for 3-4 years. I don't know. She's done so well. Went to the ER for some what they called an infection, and that was it. They put her on antibiotics and morphine. She didn't come out. She passed her there in the hospital. It makes me want to throw up. I worked on her for years, and we have some young, creepy medical doctor in an ER that doesn't know what he's doing, kills her. And I've seen this over and over and over again. Will he take any responsibility? None whatsoever. At least what he doesn't see. Karma doesn't have an emotional component to it. And that's why I'm telling you, medical doctors, got to get with this so we're not doing this to our people. We're all working together to save people and let their karma be their lot. People are going to die all the time off of this planet. I'm going to pass. You're all going to pass someday. That's part of the movement. That's why learning OBEs is fun, because then you don't have any fear. You know what the worlds are like beyond this one. So that's why that's good. But you want to get your health back, and so you want to work on them, and this dad's need to work on his kidney and adrenals. See how we keep going back to those components of kidney and adrenals, and how they reach out and have so many little fingers all through the body and all kinds of symptoms? But if you're like me and you like to take all this and correlate it down, like flow charts, and I see it all comes back to those dang kidney and adrenals again. Absolutely. But then you could stretch that right over to man's diet. No question. No question. I understand, but for him, I can see it bothers him a little with everything. Well, they'll tell you, if your dad has a leaky heart valve and all that, you want to strengthen him up, the shingles, and he's only 56, and he wants to have a good life and a happy and fun one the rest of his life. He's halfway there. Not really. In today's world, people are dying in their 50s and 60s like flies, and their 30s, and their 20s, and their babies. So it's a world in trouble. So thanks, Ozzy. Good job. Tell your dad to hang in there. Keep going. Clean that up. Get absorption up. Use that GI broom. Get his bowels cleaned up, his liver cleaned, get all that cleaned, and he starts putting on muscle. And you'll see that. And some of you guys will comment the other day. Somebody's just on fruit. Now they're starting to see muscle starting to come on them again on the same diet that took them off. And that's what I've been saying. The same diet that's detoxing you will be the same diet that builds you. But your body, you got to remember the intelligence of your body and the intelligence of the Creator. Holy moly. Look around. How could man ever get narcissistic at all when you look at flowers and say, could I replicate this? I don't think so. I tell you, it's amazing. But Ozzy, you'll get it. You get your dad back. You're doing perfect. You're doing the right thing. It's our peers and the pressure from our peers that drive people sometimes, just like in school. Peer pressure has always been an issue. But stand strong, tall and strong, and you will be the winner of this one. And that's what's important. You know, the friends and everybody that's saying that to you will someday have to find this level if they want to maintain their health. In today's world, this is the only level that has the sure remedy tied to it. It's just a level of way nature does things. Not me. Vitamin B12. This is Steve. This is an over and over thing, of course. B12 is, to me, it's some vitamins and some components are a byproduct of metabolism of other factors, and that's what B12 is. B12 deals with the adrenal glands and cobalt and the like. The adrenal glands are essential. This isn't about meat or non-meat. Remember I told you I was sitting in a beautiful little mansion in Switzerland talking to the head of Nestle's baby food, and he was arguing to me about B12. You have to have the meat that's only in B12. And I find that an interesting statement from a learned person who hasn't taken the time to take a look at the species on the planet, look at the species that are representative to our physiology and anatomy. You don't look at a cat and go, well, let's see, this cat's having this in his diet, so we must. You wouldn't do that. You would go the primates. You wouldn't look at a horse and say, oh, that horse is eating grass, we should have greens in our diet. You wouldn't do that because it's a different species, it's a different animal, it's a different physiology, it's a different anatomy. You would do that to those that are close, like all these pig hearts and pig valves. Why aren't we using primates? Not a pleasant thought, but that's just what I'm saying, that you want like species. And the species that's most like the Homo sapien is the primates. And there's no question about that. So we need to look at that and look at the diets. And this is the same thing with B12. So if you're feeling fatigued and you're blaming B12, go to your adrenal glands and fix them and you won't have a deficiency. Remember, his wife came up to him and said, well, honey, when I do meat, I lose my B12, and when I do vegetables, there's the fight. You have, again, I love this, because this is where on this side of the room you have all the professors saying B12 is in all things. On this side, it's only in meat, and the only reason it's in meat, and the way they see that, is because it's a byproduct. It is part of a metabolism of other constituents. And so when you do that, you have to look at the process of cobalt and the other constituents, which is going to take you to the adrenal glands. So fix the adrenal glands, no B12. People like to take it. So I think it's water soluble, so who cares? But still, you want to be careful. This is Krista. Hello again. My computer sent my letter before I was finished, so my main question was not sent, so sorry. I started a all grape, fast, May 24th, and told myself, I am going to do 60 days. Today is July 15th. Golly. Well, that was only a few days ago. Oh, good. And it is day 52. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Hey. I'll take a minute and go, congrats, holy crap. 52 days on a grape fast. Whoo, whoo. I mean, that's incredible. That is really good. But then, babe, how far along are you now, honey? God, you're probably going up. I hope you can shift more toward fruits as you go. Yeah, I don't know, probably getting close to 650 days or more on a just fasting. Amazing. I haven't talked to her in a while. I wonder how she's doing. And I am still going strong. Oh, this girl is lovely. I want to continue maybe until somewhere between 80 and 120 days. Yeah. I've been taking the GI broom, pure adrenals, pure pituitary for my vitiligo. Ooh, smart thinking. And you're cleaning the lymph away from that pituitary. Smart. Lymph 1 caps, lymph 4 tincture, kidney 3 caps, kidney 4 tincture is just showing to be really good tincture. Let me know what you think about the kidney 4 tincture. And stomach number 2. I've lost 30 pounds since starting, was weighing at 125, now 95 pounds. I bet your mom is concerned. oh, she's withering away, even though she's eating all the nutrition. Now ask yourself, you're eating high-level nutrition. Grapes have extreme nutrition to them. You're eating high nutrition, and yet you're losing weight and getting skinny. Well, you're going to do that anyway. You're going to lose the fat. My point was a while back is that when you defat people, when the fat comes off of people, what you thought was muscle suddenly doesn't look like muscle anymore. Oh, I'm losing my muscle. Are you really? You're losing your fat. If you have inferior muscle, if you put on muscles with protein powders, you're going to lose them. See you later. They're going to go bye-bye. Put them on with alfalfa and greens, and they won't go bye-bye. It's just, again, going back to that which is inferior, that which is weak, is terminated. And it's terminated by the body either on fasting or eating raw or however. And even the parasites of nature are involved in termination. So, I mean, it's just a process. I won't say termination, a process of birth, life, and death at every level. Birth, life, and death, rebirth, life, and death, and that continuing process of creation. Souls just come in and take a body and then leave. Oh, let's experience this drama. Oh, that was cool. Comes back and goes to another drama. You're just you're just a traveler through the God worlds, each and every one of you. God has to experience himself through something. Sometimes you can step back and watch. And of course, the more that you get spiritual, you'll see you guys are probably going to want to step back more and observe things as opposed to getting involved in things. Because there's a big difference. Some people say, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this anymore? And I remember a friend, and I was out in the ocean swimming and working out, and I was a meditator. I kept getting him to come in and play with us, come in and get in the water. But he was an extreme meditator. And I knew where he was. He was just so much in the now that he didn't want to get out of that by activity of the physical. He wanted to enjoy the realm of the now. But you can enjoy activity in the realm of the now. But sometimes it takes a little while to push that. And like Angel, sometimes you get to the point where you just want to let everything go in life. And sometimes it's important that you do. I can't tell someone that really wants to go to a cave not to go to a cave. Because when you go to a cave, that's when you get into the good stuff. And sometimes I needed to go to the cave. I needed that sukkah. And I have an RV I live in part of the time, and that's where I get my sukkah. I got to go to my cave because that's how I have time in the alone state. And that's what I'm saying. If you find some time in the alone state, you'll meet yourself. And sometimes for the first time, at least in a while. So that's the thing is getting into these alone states, getting into the cave syndrome sometimes. You have to learn how to be and yet have activity. Every level of spirituality brings its own set of difficulties or its own set of rules that you have to learn by. Because it's learning how to be in the now, be you consciously, be conscious. Maybe we can put it that way. And at the same time, have activity without attachment. Because activity has a way of pulling our attention into it and we get lost in it. The game is playing without getting lost. And when you do, and it's just a process of learning that and playing with that. There's nothing else really to be said about it. Although at each level, there's all kinds of lessons. The biggest lesson you can learn is don't care. The biggest lesson in today's world right now with all what's going on with governments and the mind controls and all this stuff and all the entities, all the intergalactic, we won't tell you who they are, will we? Those people, we have to get stronger within the self and not play the lost soul in drama. And, get strong in that way. And these kind of programs will help you do that because it has a need of some degree of self-discipline. Look at this girl. She's kicking friggin' butt. I mean, she's 56 days. She can go 80. And that's what I say. Keep going. Keep going. You're not starving. Not at all. You're bringing plenty of nutrition and lots of it. Enjoy the ride. But your body's always going to turn to getting rid of those things that it doesn't want. That's what you're doing. That's its job. And your body's everything is conscious, but to different levels in creation. The true conscious is outside of creation. Creation just takes consciousness and divides it up and plays with it. I know your mom is very concerned. And so you can have your mom listen to this, because this is a classic issue in some people that are malabsorbed. And when they start detoxing, they start losing weight. They start losing what was in the spaces, what you thought was muscle, like I said. Because again, your body doesn't shed anything that's healthy and that it wants. That's not what the body does. But it certainly does get rid of what it doesn't want. And you're just giving it the opportunity to do that. So sometimes you have to take yourself down to build yourself up the right way. So you're doing great, sweetheart. You're doing great, Krista. Good job. And you just have to educate her on that and tell her just, what your goal is and what you're doing. If you get a little too low and you want to stop and build up for a little while and then go at it again, do that too. There's no laws or rules out there for anything. You want to see your individuality and what suits you as an individual. Just doesn't understand. Same with my co-workers. Put them on the YouTube. Tell them, look at these videos and learn about health, because you're going toward that. There's such ignorance on this planet about health. Don't you agree? I mean, look at this. I mean, we're using toxic chemicals to treat symptoms. We're using chemotherapy and radiation. These are barbaric practices that, I don't know, they didn't even do that in the Dark Ages. Of course, they did let you squat in a cage till your knees popped and everything else. My God, man, it's so cruel sometimes. It's just unbelievable. Frustrating sometimes. But everybody's got to learn what health is and what health isn't. And what now, you're seeing a world of what isn't. All these foods and all this crap that people claim that are good, there's no research to claim these things are good. That's the problem. But we do, I see this a lot, the Dr. Oz thing, where you get into health and then it starts taking you in a multitude of directions. You guys keep yourself focused. Don't let too many things pull yourself away. It's like Krista here. She's focused. She's on a great fast. I'm proud of her. She's going to be very successful in getting things moving in her body. Yep, you could be opening up some doors to some healing crisis, Krista, and your mom's going to have to realize that you are now hydrating interstitially, and that means that mucus is going to come forth sometime. You're going to have a little bronchitis or symptoms in the lungs. The sinuses are going to drain. Whoopee! What better? That's what you're working for. So people have a misunderstanding, and I'm hoping our videos will help. And the Facebook people, you're helping people so much. That is so cool. And there's information there. Send them to the Facebook and let the other people talk to them. I mean, let your mom see that it isn't just one doc. It's a whole movement that we're doing across the world, and that your mom has to get with it. Matter of fact, your mom should be going a great fast with you. Mom, you hear that? I don't let anything they say faze me. That's because you're a strong woman. Because I know in my heart this is going to heal my vitiligo. Yeah, because you know where vitiligo comes from. And you got to get to that pituitary. But you got to clean up the bowels, because remember, we always see a transverse colon weakness in that. That goes back to the embryonic stages and how that little embryonic tail, the gut tissue is formed, and the effect that has upon the tissue above, but also the tissue that came out of it. So the relationship of this is important. The pituitary, the fact that you're digging in and cleaning all the head out and everything is going to keep your brain sharp and clean, that sort of thing. But like I said, if you get too skinny, break it, go build up a little bit, and then take off again sometime. But I like the fact that you're pushing forward, because you always can put on weight. You always build yourself up. Start eating coconuts and stuff like that, and you'll get yourself. But what you're doing to yourself, digging deep within those tissues, is admirable by far. So what your mom doesn't realize, there's tens of thousands of other people that believe like we do, because we know we've all been through it. So we know what you're going through. So you have the backing of all of us, honey. As I was saying in my previous letter before getting cut off, I was asking if you can tell me if vitiligo is more of a difficult thing. Oh, I think it is difficult. I think to change the whole pigmentation, especially the albinos out there, guys, it's going to take you a lot of work, I think. I've never seen someone go completely the other way. I've seen cases where you had white skins and everything everywhere else, and the pigmentation come back in, addressing the pituitary. So I don't know, I don't know. You just keep playing with this and keep playing with it. You know where the source is, and you just keep working these tissues back to a state of health, understanding why they get in that sense of even genetic thinking that is low. Remember, it goes back to toxemia in your family. It goes back into your family and your family's weaknesses. You could have a whole family, though, with no vitiligo, and you're the only one with it. Why? And it goes back to specific weaknesses that develop. And you can see that. Sometimes you're the end of the litter, so to speak, or whatever. Their weaknesses are there, but not to the extent that they show this level of effect upon the skin pigmentation. Or it could be any other associated thing. It's just that, you're the one. But you got to realize that in your family, the transverse colon, the pituitary still exists. The other people have it. Might not to the level to show symptoms yet, or maybe they saw symptoms and didn't know how to correlate it to the pituitary. Like your mom could have had menstruation problems. She could have had a lot of other problems. Or you could see that in your dad's side, maybe the pituitary in your dad's side. If you can give a few examples of how long it took the people, it's a good question because they don't get the cases like. I'll say that I had a black person once in here that had a bad case of vitiligo, and she was getting that turned around within, I'd say, 3 to 6 months. But I'd have to look back on her chart to see where that is, I'd like to do someday, go through all our charts in here and just really categorize and, do the intellectual thing so people could have a sense of that. But you see our staff now is on the run. We just, we don't know. And we have people tell us that they kept following our programs, like that one lady the other day said she had a brain tumor and now she doesn't. I had another case in New York. We started getting a lot of calls one day, and I asked this one lady on the phone, I said, how'd you hear about us anyway? She said, well, this lady had a pituitary tumor in New York and now she doesn't, and she used it. So it's like, wow. And that's the beauty of this, is that you guys are taking it, you're running with it, and you're taking it on. That's exactly how you do it, and that's what we have to do, is teach the world. You take it on yourself. It's your problem, your weakness, even though it's genetic past, because you're the one that's learning how to fix it. And you just keep going, sweetheart. I think you're doing quite well. Don't worry about the time. And don't think about that. Because, there's this thing in the mind. Remember, mind over matter? And this thing is like when you're fat and you want to lose weight, so you keep trying to lose weight doing things. Well, subconsciously, you keep telling yourself you're fat. Don't think of that. Don't put thought in the mix. That blocks healing. Open up that mind, live in the moment, enjoy life around you, and let everything start moving through you, even thought. Don't let thought take a hold and manifest a thought. Let it flow through you and empower. Heals better. You heal better that way, and you bring in the higher force that way. When you use thought, you keep subconsciously telling yourself you have vitiligo and you want to get over it or this and that. Sometimes that's a block. So just don't worry about it. Sounds a little funky, but don't worry about it. Let your body get it, take it in its own time. You just know what it needs and what you're trying to do toward it. You'll see things start to get better and better and better as you go along here. Make sure your kidneys are filtering, that sort of thing. Don't overhit the pituitary, though. I want to tell you that. I would probably slip back to that gland tonic I'm talking about and kind of work that. Don't overhit the pituitary with the glandulars, because, boy, that can send your stats way out to lunch. And then the medical doctors freak because they don't get it, even though you're asymptomatic. So be careful with that little fella. Maybe go to a tonic and let that build up a little bit. Also has a new pituitary formula. I am 5 foot tall, always had menstruation issues. So guys, listen, she's telling you all what a pituitary weakness gives you. And she's spot on, she's right on, she learned her case. So I'm proud of Krista. She's really doing good. And she's only 5 foot tall. That's pituitary. She has menstruation issues, heavy bleeding, irregular. That's pituitary. And I don't know. You might have to take these pituitary formulas for a while. Generally, in most people, you hit them too hard, but you sound like your pituitary just thought it's going to take a vacation for a while. Oh, yeah, this is right on your pituitary. And then vitiligo. Are you kidding? Your pituitary right down the way. But this is what I'm saying. Get up here and use upper circuit brain and nerve always, Krista. Use that always, because you want to get up in here. The neurons, of course, is everywhere. So you want to get blood moving through the pituitary and through the whole brain, hypothalamus, all that. Get the brain and nerve formula. I would run those two consecutive with what I'm doing. I'd probably use a gland tonic, and I would keep doing that detox, because You're doing just the thing you need to do. If you need to take a break once in a while, take a break once in a while. But I love what you're doing right now. And I highly advise everyone to take off on these fasts. When you know, if you have to stop them, stop them. There's no sin, there's no crime, there's no nothing if you can't make it all the way. If you can make it all the way, go, baby, because you'll be talking about this to your kids and grandkids. Mommy went on a 100-day grape fast one day. Really? Yeah, and she fixed her problem. So you just keep working that. Watch your body. Listen to what's being said. Let me see. My questions are, ever since doing this fast, I have not had rarely any detox symptoms. Yeah, I don't know. Do I have your eyes anywhere, Krishna, to look at your eyes and see what I'm up against to give you an insight to that? Because what will happen, and sometimes you guys, you healers here, sometimes will happen. Your client will go along, and they're not having any detox symptoms. You're going, what's going on? And sometimes you see some improvement, generally tied to the filtration of the kidneys, by the way, guys. But then you'll go along, and pretty soon, kaboom! So, Mom to Krishna, if your daughter goes into a major healing crisis, it's just that she's one of those that the body just had to reach a certain level of hydration. Even though you think she's skinny, she's getting dehydrated. That's not true. She's getting hydrated interstitially, and one of these days you're going to see a boom. Sinuses are going to break loose, things like this, and you'll get a lot of congestion out. Most importantly, you want to see mucus in your stools and mucus in your urine. Those, doesn't matter what else is going on. If you don't have a healing crisis outside, as long as you're getting rid of acids, who cares? But when you have one of these, it's your body really putting the power behind a focused thought, and that is cleaning itself out. It's also true with pain and discomfort in different joints and places. It's your body focusing in these areas, and then it'll pull its attention away. The pain will go away. Now it's over here. Remember we talked about that yesterday or the day before on a video, how pain travels in a good detox situation. So you just have to hang in there. Everybody's uniquely different, and you just wear the robe. You make health your focus, and you live it and be it. Don't let time come in here, because all these are but factors, and sometimes they're discouraging to people, and other times just live in the now. Live in the now, enjoy life. Doesn't matter. It's going to fix itself. You're doing everything you can to make the body fix itself. And get that mind working for you too. Put a smiley face on every cell in your adrenal gland. Put a smiley face on every cell in your pituitary. You can use the mind in a positive way to influence and bring up the energetic focus to tissue. You can do that. Just because I don't see a physical detox symptom doesn't mean that I have not improved. Absolutely. Oh, heck no. No, not at all. Not at all. Give me a picture of your eyes and put your name on it. We'll take a look and see what you're up against. What I have noticed is that my tiredness level has gone up very much. Wow. Well, maybe you're doing too much focus on the pituitary. Now, pituitary is a little bitty thing. I'd come off that pituitary for a while. Go to the herbal glandulars. The herbal tonic for the glands. And then, but focus on your adrenals more and make sure you're filtering, sweetheart. And of course, you're probably going to see some low blood pressure here, because you're now pulling all this inflammation out of your kidneys and out of your body. And so that tiredness might be a reflection of seeing your systolic going down. Check your blood pressure. Have your mom check your blood pressure on both sides and look at your systolic. It could be really low. But take yourself off the pituitary for a little bit and give that pituitary a break. I don't see you running blood tests to take a look at the TSH, but I have more energy than I can remember. Oh, this is good. I have more energy than I can remember having. Well, you should. As you get going here, except for the adrenals, once you pass that gate, dang, these fruits will give you so much energy you can't stand yourself. That's the other side of this. And you'll see this all the time. You guys have made comments to me already that my vegetables just seem to make me tired, but the fruit really give me energy. That's because they're superior for our species. Absolutely. And any horse will eat an apple too. Any hog will too. Also, some days I do feel a little, okay. I still barely see sediment in my urine. See, that's why. But sweetheart, keep hanging, keep pushing. You're doing wonderful. Keep working for the sediment or our famous sediment in a cup. Yeah, you guys are so beautiful. I love every one of you. So love yourselves too, and be happy with yourselves, because each one of you are unique and beautiful to this world, like each individual flower that's out there. Remember that. Don't let anybody put you down and hold you down. You hold your head up high and know that you exude the beauty of God, because you were put here and being a vehicle for God to experience life. The same as the flower is the same thing. A vehicle to experience life at that level. So look at all the beauty around you and be the beauty around. And you'll be all of you are doing well. Let me see. I know my adrenals improved, but keep moving. And through case, why haven't my kidneys turned on, not filtering? Can't tell you, honey. And you're dealing with pituitary. And I've always said, remember I talked a lot about pituitary tumors and how that affects urination? So there could be something in the pituitary, some hormone or some transmitter that affects kidney function in terms of filtration. So this could not just be an adrenal gland problem. I am not that smart in endocrinology to that level, and I don't think any medical doctor is at this point. I mean, looking at this, when you have endocrinologists don't understand the role of the adrenals and sugar metabolism and all this, that's scary. But this is another issue about filtration of the kidneys, which is not even being asked yet medically. But it could be that the pituitary is influencing this factor of your life too. Again, just keep going. Don't worry about it. Keep working with filtration. You're doing a great fast. That's definitely going to help. The next fast you do a 10-day lemon juice fast, that sort of thing. Keep working yourself. Now, when you're done with this, sweetheart, good work, by the way. 5 gold stars to you today. But then take a break, build up a little bit. Even you have to do some salads if your body will take them. And then go back and keep going. I've already taken 4 bottles of the adrenals, 3 times a day. You might have to go up to 4 milligram adrenals and do 3 times a day. I mean, you've got to, sometimes your adrenals are so genetically weak, you've got to power them up a little bit. And remember, we see this all the time. And I take it you're a younger person and you would have adrenal weakness. And your mom should be looking at you going, oh, she's a product of me. What's going on with her? Because it's coming out. She came out of me and my hubby or her dad. Now, where's our genes at? Because those are the questions we need to start asking yourselves. Even the moms and dads out there who your children are working on their health, take your hat off and love your kids, because I wish my kids were that smart. They weren't. And even though I was, maybe it's because I was talking to them too much about raw, but they just didn't, I don't know. It's enough to say that the young people are coming on top now, and the older people need to learn from them. You're never too old to learn, and you're never too old to learn from your own kids. Remember that, parents. I'm one too. And you're never too old to learn. I never stop learning. That's why it's hard for me to quit seeing people, because you guys have taught me so much. My God, there's nothing like clinicals for all you. Helping others gives you a strong sense of what you're going to go through, like excessive thinness and all this stuff. We talk a lot. Matter of fact, we did a whole video on just excessive thinness and what you have to go through, and malabsorption and what this means and what you have to do. And these are the videos your parents need to watch, things like this. But the thing is that your parents need to do this too. I know, and it's hard to get these older people sometimes to thinking, and I should talk. But it's just the way it is. Our future is in the youth's hands in every way, shape, or form, in honesty and integrity, and also in health and wellness, and in spirituality. You guys are the future. You guys are the ones going to make a huge impact to this earth and this level of experience. And if you watch the growth, this plant is very immature and it needs to grow more spiritually. And that's why you see an army of you guys out there. We need you. We need you guys. All right. So I just keep working that way, sweetheart. You're doing really well that way. You know what? I think I've got to run. So what I'm going to do is... This is Lykke, Leaky, and David. Leaky, Leaky. Oh, country boy, country school. I came across your webpage through a raw fooder here in Denmark. Oh, Denmark. Yeah, Denmark. I did watch your videos on the Great Lymphatic System, but I would love to hear your views on my specific situation. Absolutely, sweetie. That's what I'm here for. Back in 2005, I was diagnosed with cervical cancer stage 1B. Oh, God. I had an operation done, and they removed my uterus plus 18 lymph nodes. Holy crap. Honey, 18 lymph nodes? I hope they were all to the uterus. I had chemo and radiation therapy as well. I need a drink. Oh, my God, honey. Now in 2007, I developed 2 lymphedema in my legs. I was diagnosed and prescribed compression stockings to relieve me of my symptoms, so it has gotten a little worse in my right leg since it was first diagnosed, and my left leg seems to have cleared up. Listen, sweetheart, the reason you had it in the first place was your kidneys and adrenals. Back to the whole story we're talking about on all these videos. That's your doorway out for sewage. And that you have to go back and fix that. You got to go back and fix your kidneys and get this filtering. We showed you the picture here a minute ago. You got to get your kidneys filtering and get your adrenals up. This is the problem with removing lymph nodes. And when a physician removes a lymph node because it has a cancer cell or he suspects it, you're out. Because what they do to the person and what they struggle in their lives, it's just not even funny for something that didn't need to happen. So what you want to do is get all raw, 100% raw, no question. Don't even think about cooked foods for a little while if you can, honey. And really try to get your body out. Get your kidneys filtering, get your adrenals up. To get the kidneys filtering, start moving that lymph. Clean your bowels out. And hope that if those lymph nodes will rebuild themselves. Been a few years, but you keep going and get that body cleaned out. Then watch which lymphedema stays. If your right leg stays, that's a problem. That's a problem because that means they remove the lymph nodes that leg can drain. Hopefully, you'll get those kidneys filtering and all this lymph will have a doorway out. And you do it now because if you get too big, your legs are going to get huge and you want to get away from that. You don't want that. So you try to do your best. Use sequential leg pumps or stockings or whatever if you have to. Thank you. But you know what? You want to go after the cause of your problem in the first place, sweetheart. That's your kidneys and your adrenals. You dig in there, okay? Now I have heard that not all people develop lymphedema because of surgical removal and want to ask if there is anything I can do to help my situation as I am 5 to 7 centimeters bigger on my, oh yeah, and it can get a lot bigger. I don't want to scare you, but let's get this out of here, okay? Let's get those kidneys filtering. Let's get those adrenals up. Let's get that body detox to yours. That's the only way you're going to find remedy. And during that process of being high raw, you could rebuild some lymph nodes. Or the lymph could reroute itself. So let's hope that can be the factor of that, because that's really going to be really key here, sweetheart, is to get your kidneys filtering. I'd be curious to what your creatinine is right now. Remember, creatinine is your kidney function. Anything above 0.6, don't like it. And 0.6 is the low end normal of most labs. Don't care what the labs think. We know what's up. So just know that your creatinine should be about 0.5, 0.6 at the most, and watch that. I have tried lymph drainage, acupuncture for about 3 months, systemic enzyme therapy, bandages, and self-drainage. Well, to tell you the truth, none of those are going to help you until you get your kidneys filtering. And guys, this is how I learned that the kidneys were the key. It was cases just like hers. And the fact that they're doing all these things, they're doing all the things that supposedly, the cheat machines, you're doing the rebounders, you're doing all those things. The reason I speak from the level I do is I've had these experiences for 43 years now. I've seen all this. I see what works, what doesn't work, but I'm telling you, until those kidneys start filtering, don't be creating more acidosis for yourself. That's the problem. Too much activity. And that's what I'm going to say to you, sweetheart. I wouldn't have too much activity in my life until you get your kidneys filtering. Then kick it up, because you're going to create more waste, more lymphedema, etc., etc., etc. You need to keep your life in a relaxed manner and keep your diet totally raw. Start out with fruits, berries, and melons all day and a salad at night, and then in a month or two, get rid of the salad. Put yourself on like this young girl. She's on a, where's she at? 50-some days on a grape fast. That's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to get up there and at least try a 10-day grape fast and get with your body and start cleaning it out more aggressively. And enzyme therapy, that doesn't move lymph. Bandages, of course, squid pumps, that sort of thing. All these stuff. Get your kidneys filtering by way of the adrenal glands. And then you're going to see effect. But keep in mind, when they remove lymph nodes, and this shows you the vitalness of a lymph node, and why don't physicians understand that cancer cells are taken to lymph nodes for what reason? Macrophages, immune cells that like to gobble up other cells, macrophages, however you wish to call them. It's right there in the books. I do try to eat healthy, but often find myself eating crappy food. Well, I would nip that in the bud and get yourself focused, sweetheart, because you're in trouble. And you want to get yourself out of trouble. And you were in trouble back in '05, and they didn't know how to fix you properly. They just insulted your body, beat it up for you, and gave it back to you. And said, here, we're done with what we can do. And that's just insane. This is why you guys are so valuable to this world. I can't even tell you enough how important you are to save poor souls like this. But you, honey, you've got to save yourself now, and you got to dig in and get your kidneys filtered and get higher up on the raw. And I would do all raw. Forget the junk for now, because you're in trouble. You want to get yourself out of trouble, sweetheart, and you can get yourself out of trouble. Don't know about the right side. All right, I'm seeing on the left side. Okay, all right, could be forcing up into the pelvic area, but we'll see. You know, you just have to get your kidneys filtering and see what happens to that right leg. It's the only way. Or that right leg. I've had them in here with their right legs this big. I had a lady in here with her right leg this big. That's how you get elephant legs. It's lymph node blockages or removal. All which can relieve me of some acute swelling, but not a long-term healing. I also tried some homeopathic. You need the muscle, baby, and that muscle is herbs, botanicals, in other words, and your raw foods, particularly fruits, berries, and melons. Absolutely, that's your babies. I am also tired most days. Well, why wouldn't you be? I mean, your problem is in the kidney and adrenals, and we're back in '05. You got to get in and fix those things, sweetheart. Spit out mucus in the morning. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. With some small lumps of yellowish brownish matter. Well, now you're getting a little deeper into that body. As you dig deeper, you're going to see yellow mucus, and then you're going to see green mucus, and then you can see some brown mucus. But that shows how toxic you are right there. So you want to dig in, and I mean really dig in. I'd probably douche with the Heal-All tea too, just because you were shot with radiation and everything else there. Let me see. Mucus in the morning, yellowish brown matter, which I had tested, and it's no bacterial infection. Bacteria is definitely after sewage. Just remember that. And what's sewage in your body? What system? Lymphatic. Now blood. Your blood's not the sewer system. Can you help me or guide me into what I must do and go forward? Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, from Denmark, Miss, I don't know how to pronounce your name accurately, but I'll say this, call in and get yourself on a program and do it now and get yourself going on lymph drainage and do it the right way. You got to get the kidneys and the adrenals up and filtering before you're going to see any permanent or true relief. So you want to, get on with this and get going. And then you'll have a good life, sweetheart. All right, it was a pleasure talking with you guys today. I always love talking with you guys. I know sometimes I get off going a little fast on this, but I'm looking at all these questions here, and I'm trying to get to all of you, but you all get the gist. So no matter what you have, if you put yourself on a cleansing and rebuilding program like what we're discussing through these videos, you will get into your body and correct anything that's out there. Don't accept this, I've got a problem that can't be remedied. Now, there are some that might be at that point. Don't think that, though. Don't allow yourself to go there. Just keep yourself focused on love, giving others love, health, eating raw, detoxing, getting fruits, berries, and melons, having the herbs go in and clean and rebuild the body with you, and turn around and wake up a new day. Learn how to control the mind, get that mind in order, put the ego in the corner. That'll just keep your individuality, that's it. Remember humility, because you're learning. You're learning more than others. And now you're the God person, and you must be humble about that. If not, the lessons are tough. So have fun. An angel, you're an angel. Dave, good work. All you guys are great. Dimitri, all you guys are working hard on people. I heard about your seminars. Those are good. Your retreat, your Great Fast Retreat. You guys are the future, and you know that, and be that. I love you all. Till the next video, have a great fun day. Bye-bye.